right, welcome everybody. We'll get started. We've got a good crowd in the room. We've got a lot of KRT folks here, obviously. And then we've got a few people joining us online. Jeremy Young from the county is here, welcome. And we've got Jill Hall from Jackson Kelly, who is counsel. So welcome to you all. Thank you for being here. Sean, do you want to do a quick roll call?
Yeah, so as far as for a quorum, we have Mr. Todd Goldman, Valerie Gaynor, and Jay Snodgrass here in person representing the Kanawha County Commission. Representing the city of Charleston, we have Tom Tolliver in person, Heidi Adams electronically. Representing Montgomery, we have Maurice Anderson electronically. Representing the city of Nitro, we have Mayor Dave Casebolt electronically. And representing St. Albans, we have Bob Sutphin here in person. And we have, did I say Mr. Tolliver? Say it again. Mr. Tolliver's here. We're glad you're here, bud. Here.
Yes.
Yes, so you're 93. With no sympathy. So we do have 5 out of our 8 partners and a quorum present.
Great. Okay, moving on. So the packets were sent around in advance of the meeting containing the minutes from the last meeting. I know that Jay had a couple of suggested changes. Any other comments on the minutes?
I'll make a comment during this portion. Jay brought up some comments about the language represented that whenever my annual review from last board meeting, and we're going to make those edits. But also I wanted to express, again, my appreciation to the board for being so generous, but I also, after some time of reflection and thinking about it, due to our current situation, budgets, etc., I don't feel like I want to be treated any differently than any other employee here. So I've asked Jessica to roll that 5% back to what everyone else receives. So I just wanted to make sure I told the board thank you, but again, I don't feel it's right to be treated any differently than the rest of our employees. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? Any other comments on the minutes?
Motion for approval. Second.
All right, there's a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Jessica, financials.
All right, good morning, everybody. If you see on Schedule 1, our accounts receivable and short-term investment, accounts receivable still high, short-term investment still low. We still have not received our operating grant. But TRAMS is up and running, and we have seen movement on both applications, so it is coming. But in the meantime, we've had 2 good months of letter receipts to keep our reserve up. We're back up to 4.9 million today, where we had gotten below 2.5 at one point, which made me very nervous. But we have enough of a cushion right now while we wait on the influx of cash. So we're expecting 3.5 million in the first one, and then another one coming in right behind it. On Schedule 2, which is our statement of revenues and expenses, our operating expenses exceeded revenues by 1.2 million in October. So we are staying on the low end of our range. If you take a look at the revenues, our income on the short-term investment, which is our savings account, that's low now, but it's going to roughly double monthly once we get that grant and we can have that money sitting there earning interest. But I wanted to point out that our investment account is thriving. We've got more than double the income it had this time last year, and we're well ahead of the conservative estimate year to date. Miscellaneous expenses year to date, they look like they're really far above budget at $117,000 versus $82,000, but that's just due to expense timing. We had a big chunk of change set aside for tickets that we knew were coming, and we paid for those all at once during the summer. So that just, it looks high for now, but it will balance out over the year. We are, overall, our expenses are within $5,000 of budget, which is pretty incredible considering we spend over $1 million a month, so I'm pretty impressed with that. Schedule 4, we do have some good news there. The last time we met, we were $13,000 or 13% short of last year's total, which had me worried, especially considering waiting on all the money we're waiting on. But we had some last minute miscellaneous distribution. Those come out only a couple times a year, and And we did have a strong November, so we've rebounded right to 1.3% above last year at 5.7 million. So that gives me a little bit better slate for the moment.
Do you remember the last time that the investment committee we put together met with our investor?
Yes, that was, wasn't that
Spring?
earlier?
I
think it was
feel like it was spring.
Time for new one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we probably need to get something arranged. Between now and the end of the year is probably not practical, but maybe something early next year.
Yep.
Absolutely, I will reach out to our folks at Truist.
I was going to speak up because the thing that stands out to me on this schedule too is the passenger fares. And if you look, and later when Jacob gives his operations report, you're going to see that the majority of that difference between the budget and the actual is related to SOAR activity going down. There's a couple of reasons for that. Some of them we can control and some we can't. The state created a scenario where if the trips are scheduled more than 3 days in advance, they have to go through Motive Care, which is that NEMT program, as opposed to SOAR. So that has cut down on SOAR substantially. And so I didn't want to just glaze over the fact that the revenue from passenger fares is down about 300,000. That will catch up. We will see labor savings also on that with the SOAR program going down. It's less on-demand. We currently have 14 on-demand drivers compared to 4 at our peak last year. So we're going to continue to monitor that and try to ride the wave of doing as much SOAR that we can to maximize our revenue while not signing up for so much SOAR that it makes us have employees who do 3 hours of SOAR a day, but the remainder of the 5 hours of their day they're not necessarily needed. So it's a careful dance, but I wanted to make sure I brought it up to the board. And the gasoline numbers there are because we've anticipated that for the second half of the year the revenue would drop a little bit because the actual anticipating lower fuel costs, which we will discuss later in this meeting.
All right, any other questions for Jessica on financials? Okay. Any invoices in excess of 5,000? All right. Okay, insurance report.
Good morning, everyone. Luckily, I don't have much to report. I will say, next board meeting, we'll have several closed claims. It's just how it worked out this time. We weren't able to add them onto this spreadsheet. We still have 0 people out on workers' comp. We want to keep that up. So, nothing really on the insurance report. Still working some older claims. Still gathering, medical information for some folks, but hopefully we can get a lot of these claims, older claims closed in the next few months. All I got.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay, operations, Jacob.
Thank you. So in October, we saw roughly 94,000 passengers run our system, 4% decrease from last year. That was to be expected with the service changes that went into effect this past February. It's exciting to see an increase from July, roughly 4,000 passengers. The other metrics there, the on-time performance, the passengers per revenue hour have remained steady across all services. On operations report 2, it's encouraging to see the micro pilot continued success there. We've been able to, in 2 zones, replace the fixed route service in South Hills and Beach Avenue with micro only. We're seeing more rides taken overall on the micro service than the fixed route service. And then a couple months ago, we added 3 new zones in Kanawha City, South Charleston, and Southridge. We're in the October was the 2nd month of that pilot, and we're already seeing trips doubling and tripling in those zones. So I would expect the same practice as in the first pilot of the micro zones, being able to replace inefficient fixed route services in those zones. Also note the validators and the smart cards that we launched a couple months ago with account-based ticketing. So in July, 14,000 rides were using the system. And then in August is when we introduced the account-based ticketing, and fair capping, we're now seeing 24,000 rides a month using that system. So there's roughly 10,000 increase in rides from passengers using that new technology. That's all I have unless there's any questions.
What, your cancellations and no-shows, do they put any money up front when they schedule these? Or?
No, so the money isn't collected until they board the bus. So it's encouraging to see the no-shows decrease, because on those, our drivers are driving out to the location to pick them up. So we're wasting fuel and time there when other people can be picked up. Cancellations we can't really control. Those might be canceled 2, 3, 5 days in advance or a day of. We don't worry too much about the cancellations. The main one is the no-shows. So it's exciting to see that number decrease.
And there is a policy in place that people use that system and have, it's kind of like, what is it, the three?
You have to, like 10% of their trips or no-shows over a 3-month period, then you get a warning, and then progresses into suspension of service for a period of time.
And this is not the CAP program, it's just.
Yeah, it is a CAT, 88 trips, but also all of our on-demand services, SOAR,
Everything
and
combined?
Micro, yes.
All right. Thank you, Jacob.
And the only other thing, operations-wise, I want to make sure I touch on it. We're happy this year again to be offering the Holly Jolly Brawley Trolley. That'll start on Friday after Thanksgiving, so next Friday. There is going to be this year for the first weekend, so that Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving, we are going to temporarily relocate our city center to the Park Place setup like we do during the regatta, during the bike event, etc. We're doing that because the city is going to have a zip line that runs from Poirier down to the middle of Lately.
Yeah.
So obviously we don't want our operators driving down Lately while there's a zip line going on. So that's, thankfully it's just 2 days. It's not, at first I thought it was the entirety that we do the trolley, but it's not. So for the first 2 days of the trolley, we will be operating the city center from Park Place, but then the next weekend it'll go back to the normal, picking up at Lately and stopping at the City Triangle and then going to the ballpark and to the Capitol Market. And that'll happen every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 4 to 10. It's free for individuals, and it's one of the biggest programs we do as far as on social media, as far as getting people who aren't traditionally KRT riders on one of our vehicles. So appreciate the team and the staff and the individuals who drive that trolley. They currently started decorating it today.
They're starting at noon today.
Starting today, and then we'll also have our tree down at the city center, so make sure you come down and vote for that. But it's an exciting part of the year when we get to give back to the folks who pay the safety levy. So, thank you.
All right. Travis, maintenance facility update?
So this is really about the maintenance facility as a whole, but over the past month, we've been doing an Avail ERP training. So we have a lot of new faces, a lot of people that are using the software. What the software does is all of our business intelligence. It's a suite, and you'll see, sorry about that. It ties finance, payroll, human resources, maintenance, procurement, and different modules. And we've never really used the system the way that we should have, and we've had it since 2001. So Avail's just kind of gone through it and shown us what is available, and we can pick and choose what we want to change. But this will help us get up to speed, just so we're using the system properly and being better trained than just trying to piecemeal it together on our own. So that's been really exciting that we've been able to do that. They're actually on site right now for 5 days with maintenance and procurement. They felt that maintenance and procurement needed to be on site. Finance, human resources, and the other modules were all remote.
What's the name of the software, Avail or Avail?
Avail. It used to be FleetNet. That's all I have for the maintenance facility, unless somebody has a question.
And I'll give an update on the maintenance facility grant. I got a text yesterday from Wendell asking, they're obviously curious as to whether we've heard anything. One of their clients had heard from one of their U.S. senators about the grant, so that doesn't mean we didn't get it, but it means I'm hopeful that my phone will ring sometime soon. And it says unknown, and it's capital or justice, we will see. But hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll have a more clear understanding of if we were successful or not.
Is that waiting for the appropriations? Is that where it's at, or is it?
No, the FTA, the notice of funding gave the FTA 75 days to announce the awards, but obviously the government shutdown and everything in between didn't make that happen on time. That was September 28th was the date it was supposed to come out. But just literally yesterday, I heard that one agency heard that they received the grant, but nothing's been officially announced. But hopefully by next board meeting, we'll know.
Okay, new business. So, fuel task force contract. And bids were accepted yesterday, opened yesterday, and there were a few people here. Jay and I were here for that. So, Sean, you want to?
Sure. So this is every 2 years we go out and we ask for prices from our fuel vendors and potential bidders. And again, this is the program that we manage as part of the Kanawha County Fuel Task Consortium. So we have about 80 to 100 different municipal and county agencies who hop onto this with us. And we also put out a bid on behalf of the city of Charleston, and they kind of piggyback off of our process. And again, I thank Travis, Angie, and Zach and his whole team for doing this work. But yesterday at 11 a.m. we opened the bids, and I'll let Travis go into some of the differences between the fixed price and the escalate, de-escalate, and then we can go over kind of the recommendation that we came up with as staff working with Valerie and Jay yesterday as well.
Are you showing us all the bids, or is it just the preferred bidder?
That's
It shows
all.
All of them.
Yeah.
There was one bidder?
There's only one.
There's
So
two.
One for fixed price.
This is firm
Yeah.
fixed, and then you'll see an escalate, de-escalate page.
But one
in a
firm.
moment. Yes,
One firm.
yes. The industry, every information we have received is that the industry is moving away from firm fixed, and they prefer the escalate, de-escalate clauses.
So you think that's why these other companies didn't do the firm bid, or didn't bid at all, because they had to do both?
Except for Atlantic Petroleum,
They weren't allowed.
who didn't submit a bid. They
They just
submitted all their
submitted the package.
contract papers, but no bid, so it just
Okay.
wasn't compliant.
Yeah, you could bid on either firm fixed, de-escalate, or both,
Okay.
whatever you. But we did have 4 submissions: RT Rogers Oil, Colonial Oil Industries, Atlantic Petroleum. Valerie said that they did submit contract documentation with no bids whatsoever. So there's just no bid. And then Petroleum Traders of Indiana. So for firm fixed, again, firm fixed, we at KRT and a lot of government agencies, we don't lock into a specific number of gallons. We have a good faith estimate. This one is 690,000 gallons of gasoline, for example, and then we'll say plus or minus 10%. Whenever you add that plus or minus 10%, a lot of brokers do not like to bid on firm fixed. It's harder for them to gauge what the price should be, so that's why you'll see a lot of escalate, de-escalate. So on firm fixed, the only bidder was Colonial. There's 2 cells here that you may have never seen. This is a tank wagon bid. So what the tank wagon is a smaller transport truck that can deliver to agencies with smaller tanks. They can't accept a full transport tractor trailer. This would be like KCAA, St. Albans, etc. Right now, we have all of our gallons transported to KRT, Marmet Nitro. But from KRT, we subcontract or just hire out another company to come and pump that fuel back out of the ground that's been dropped and then deliver it to these agencies. And that opens us up to risk. There's more of a potential for spill because we're double handling, and we're also having to pay this company an hourly rate plus a delivery fee to this. We do recoup that money with that cost, but that cost would go completely out the window if we did have a spill. So tank wagon and gas and diesel, they do increase about 20 to 30 cents on the gallon to cover that delivery charge. And again, Colonial Oil was the only company that bid on firm fix for KRT and the city of Charleston. On escalate, de-escalate, RT Rogers, Colonial, Petroleum, all 3 submitted a bid. You may see that Petroleum Traders petroleum traders in Colonial were very competitive with their escalate de-escalate.
Just to interject for a moment there for the folks, and for yesterday, I need Travis to re-educate me, but when we say escalate, de-escalate, that is essentially riding the market plus or minus these numbers that each bidder has submitted to us. So when you see those numbers, it's not that we're paying 4 cents for gas, it's that we're paying the OPIS price plus that percentage, or dollar amount, sorry.
So petroleum traders and Colonial, they're very close on that. And I had a graph here for you, just so you can kind of see what the market's done and where we've been with our contract price. So this is from 2022 to 2025. The orange line is the OPIS price for diesel. The blue line is the OPIS price for gasoline. The magenta line is KRT's diesel price, and the green is KRT's gasoline price. In 2022, I mean, there was COVID happened, a lot of things with the economy just went haywire, and they're at the height of diesel was $4.85 or 88 cents, and then the height of gasoline was $3.88 in that period. KRT at that time was paying $2.54 for diesel and $2.38 for gasoline. I believe during this time TTA was on the escalate de-escalate market, so they were paying this $4.88 plus that charge and this $3.88 plus that charge while we were down here. So you can see the choppiness of this is just like the market. This is more of the typical market here. Works similar to the stock market, highs and lows. It leveled out in this year here. And the bids, as you see the trend line for diesel and gasoline, are both trending downward. The firm fixed price has us for gasoline in this range. The firm fixed for diesel also has us in this range of the market. So we felt that it was very good, a very good price at the firm fixed, and it also allows us to correctly budget, because in the event that we did have a spike in the market, we're going to have to charge our agencies, our partner agencies, that increased amount for fuel. And really, if they think that they could get it cheaper at the pump, they may get it at the pump, and we'll be in a similar situation like we were in 2022. But we haven't done an escalate de-escalate contract for over 10 years. I could not find the documentation, but I was here when it happened, so it was somewhere between 2012 and 2015 is when we were on a escalate de-escalate contract. And since we have always been on firm fixed. I'm not saying that that's what we should do always, but in this particular instance, staff recommends that we go with a firm fixed price for our budgetary numbers for our position, but also for our partner agencies.
And just to elaborate upon that, the current prices, so as of today, we're currently paying $2.46 per gallon of gasoline and $3.09 per gallon of diesel. So the nice part is that Colonial's prices for year 1 and year 2 are both substantially lower than that. And that can be a warning sign for people what that really means for the economy. But for us, that would mean our fuel prices and for our partner agencies would go down substantially. And again, to Travis's point, the idea of doing the fixed rate price for us as an entity that is administering this for over 80 to 100 partner agencies, I think the most responsible thing, and the reason why we want to suggest sticking to firm fixed price, is that for that budgeting process and making it reliable for the county and for all the smaller agencies that may not be as nimble or be able to adjust if something were to happen, God forbid, that would send the market up or down substantially.
And yeah, Jay and I, like I said, were here yesterday. We talked this through. We were on board with that recommendation for the fixed price. Just because of all the budgetary issues. I mean, we continue to focus on the budget and how difficult it is to budget, and we run at a pretty big deficit. So just for those reasons and the fact that these are pretty good prices, we agreed with that. So any questions for Travis or Sean on the fuel bids?
I went a little fast, but the bidders that did submit a complete bid, so the three, KRT, Rogers, Colonial, and Petroleum Traders, found they were all responsible bidders. They all had their complete bid packets. All of the necessary things are in line, so any choice we make is comfortable that their bids are sufficient and good. I'll just read it out. Again, went a little too fast. Colonial, year one diesel price for their firm fix is $2.55, 55.87. Their E10 gasoline is 2.0229. Their tank wagon for diesel was 2.7974. Their tank wagon for gasoline 2.3340. For second year, the diesel price is 2.4543. The tank wagon price is then 2.6930. The gasoline tank wagon is 2.2324, and the E10 gasoline is 1.9213. KRT will pay the transport, so not the tank wagon price. And again, this won't impact our partner agencies any more than what it would normally.
So the upcharge on the tank wagon is the same cost that we were paying for this third party to handle the fuel the second time?
A little less.
So it'd be some savings.
Yeah, maybe 2 cents on the gallon less.
And we won't be charging them the uptick, it's just gonna be coming straight out of.
We'll probably leave the language where it is, so that 2 cents might cover we still have to order it, we still have to, invoice it, pay it, so we're paying all of the invoices. They're not paying anything other than when we bill them, so they're not paying the broker upfront. We are, so we would leave that 2 cents in there just to cover that administrative cost.
And the real savings there is the fact that we would be pumping that gas out half the frequency as we currently are. I mean, currently we run through the game where we pump it into our tanks and then we pump it out, and you're just opening.
It's liability,
Yeah, I mean, you're doing everything twice that could just have it come directly from the racks to KCAA.
And we'll still be able to do that process if need be, so if there was an emergency or we needed to do something out of the ordinary of the tank wagon process, we can. So that also helps.
So the management of these partner agencies and their tanks get down to where they've got no fuel, that's the same situation we are in now. So
Yes.
they're gonna have to tell you when they need a delivery,
Yes.
and you'll just have the tank wagon deliver the fuel instead of having a third party here.
For some
Yeah,
entities,
yeah, essentially.
for the ambulance authority.
They'll just go to the rack instead of the KRT pumping out.
Okay.
Yeah, because this was how often did we pump out, did we do did we do our deliveries? I mean, for KCEAA, it was almost
Average about 2 a week.
2 a week.
To someone.
Okay.
For, just for reference, KCAA has a 2,500 gallon tank. We deliver 115,000 gallons out of our tank to them. So that's a pretty substantial amount of deliveries.
Yeah.
Like 40-something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
They need a bigger tank.
We've expressed that.
Well, I think we need a motion to select a bid so we can move forward. Okay.
Except Colonial Oil bid,
Fixed firm.
fixed firm, yes,
I'll second that.
and the tank wagon.
Okay. All right, so we've got a motion and a second to accept Colonial Oil's fixed firm bid. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. So I'm gonna let Sean talk about this next item.
Yeah, so this next item with council's some advice, we are going to table for a future board meeting, but I wanted to make sure I put it on the agenda, but we're gonna pull it until we are certain it's time to talk about it. So I don't have a whole lot to report on that, other than suggesting we table it for
Okay.
a future meeting.
Okay. All right. And with that, I don't think we have anybody signed up for public comment. Anybody online? Okay. Well, if no one has anything else, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and